Okay, question 5. Try on question 6 as well. Standard deviation of these numbers is equal to root A. Find the value of A. Now, this is them dressing up the question in a way as to confuse you. Okay, imagine the question said, calculate the standard deviation of these numbers here. Okay, so let's just, if we saw that, I think most people would be like, okay, I can do that. Okay, because we're given the equation at the top. And I prefer this equation, and that's one we're going to use. Okay, so whenever you see data sets like this, please instantly go and remind yourself that the equation's here. Okay, so there's nothing difficult to get it started. I'm just going to write it on the side. So standard deviation is equal to the square root of x minus x bar squared, or the sum of, divided by n minus 1. Okay, it's a bit messy, sorry, but point is the equation's there, and you can maybe just write it here to remind you of what you're going to do. And you should be aware of just doing your little table. Okay, so we just need to do a little table, and we're going to work out the standard deviation, then figure out about this question. At the back of your head, wouldn't be a bad idea to think, right, well, I'm going to root something at the end, but just let's forget that just now. Okay, keep it at the back of your head. So they've handily organised all the data, so that's quite good. So I don't need to worry about that. Okay, so there's my x, x minus x bar. Now what is the x bar? Well, x bar is just the mean, isn't it? So x bar is going to be equal to 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 8 divided by 5. So what's that? 15 divided by 5, so that's going to give us 3. And again, you should get a reasonably nice number out of this, okay? If you're getting a mental number, you've probably made a slight error somewhere, okay? So 1 minus 3 minus 2, 2 minus 3 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, 8 minus 3 is 5, okay? Now if I add all those numbers up, minus 2 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 plus 5, I'm going to get 0. And that means you've done it right so far. Okay, so there's a wee trick just to be like, right, have I done this right? Yes, I have. Okay, and a box just to keep it tidy. Right? So I know I've done that bit right, x minus x bar, but I actually need the sum of the x minus x bar squared. Okay, so the next one I need to do is x minus x bar squared, and then to sum up, I'm just going to do what I did there. Just do what I did there and add them all up. Okay, so minus 2 squared is 4. 1, 1, 1, and 25. So these should all be positive numbers for a start. Okay, so minus 1 times minus 1 gives you 1. Right, so you're squaring this number and getting rid of any negatives. Okay, so 25, 6, 7, 8, 32. Okay, so I know the sum of x minus x bar squared is 32. So I go back to my equation. S is equal to the square root of 32 divided by n minus 1. And we said that n was 5, because there's 5 of them. That's our n in there. N minus 1 is 4. So what's 32 divided by 4? 8, isn't it? So S is equal to root 8. Okay. Now the question was asking what is the standard calculate standard deviation and what's A equal to, where it's root A, isn't it? Well, in that case, A is equal to 8, isn't it? All right, so don't worry about the way that the question's worded. Okay, think, what do you know? Okay, and if you see a couple of numbers in the word standard deviation, write this table out. Okay, again, I think this is an easy 3 marks, really straightforward. The only tricky bit was maybe thinking, what do they mean? Oh, I see a root sign. People always get upset when they see a root sign and then a letter. It's like, well, it's algebra. No, just do your standard deviation and just follow it through and see where you end up. Okay, don't panic. All right. So the marking scheme, what do they say? So finding x, x bar and minus x bar squared. So you're getting a mark for all of this, you're getting a mark, and for this, you're getting a mark as well. So there's only one mark for the two of them, really. So that's a bit harsh. Substitute into the formula, so you're getting a mark for this, and then a mark for your final answer. So I think that's a wee bit harsh. I've seen other papers you get 3 marks. We get a mark for the mean, then a mark for this as well. That's a bit harsh, I think, because they've given you this extra step. Or maybe it's not an extra step, I suppose, to be fair, but they've made you think and answer it with A is equal to 8. So yeah, you maybe could argue that there's an extra mark there. All right. So standard deviation, get your equation from the front, and then do this table. Okay. That's a check to make sure you're on the right lines. And I like to make sure it's in a nice order because all the numbers are in a nice order. It's easier to spot mistakes. Okay. Good stuff. Right. Part of a graph is shown. Calculate A and B. So it's 2 marks, A and B. When you see this, you should think there's not a lot of work into it. Okay. Now, let's think to ourselves, what does sine usually look like? Okay, now if you're not great at maths, you should still know that's your sine curve. Well, actually, that's the best I've ever drawn it, so I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, that should ring a bell. Okay, it goes up and down to 1 and -1. Okay, so that's the maximum and minimum. Okay, and it's over a range of 360, so degrees in a circle. Okay, that's how far it goes over. So that should be in your head, right? So we should look at this and think, well, how's that different? Well, I've got a 4 here and a -4 here. So instead of 1, I've got 4. Okay, and then instead of one wave in 360, there's one wave, there's two waves, there's three waves. So I've actually got three waves and not one. Okay, so the numbers 4 and 3 should be sticking out to you. Okay, now what does that mean? Does that mean that I've got y is equal to 4 sine or sim, sorry, 4 sine 3x, or y is equal to 3 sine 4x? Okay, if you're not sure, that either one of them is a good guess. Okay, right. Actually, if you want to be really clever in guessing, you're probably best just guessing something like putting the 4 in both of them and just saying A is 4 and B is 4. Okay, because if you get it round the wrong way, you'll get nothing. But if you're sure one of them's 4, then you might as well just say A is 4 and B is 4. Okay, so I don't, you've got to play the game. Okay, if you're not great at something, think of ways where you can try and get something out of it. Okay, so A is 4 and B is 4 would be a good shout because you can see here you've increased the height to 4 where it was 1. Okay, now guessing aside, what is the actual answer? Well, look, the height's been increased. Okay, so sine's been times by 4. Okay, y is equal to 4 sine. Okay, we've increased the height of it, we've kind of increased the magnitude of it. So if you think on that, if you multiply something, you're making it bigger. Okay, if I've got, if I was twice as tall, so say, there's me, I'm usually, X tall, but now I'm 2X tall, I'm twice the tall. Maybe think of it something like that. Okay, you're multiplying the height. The period is to do with the next number. Okay, it's the number in front of the X that affects the period. Okay, so that should be 3x because we've got 3 times as many waves in there. So B is going to be 3. Okay, so that's your equation. I'm just going to check to see if you write that. Yeah, if you write that, you're still going to get your 2 marks. You have to say A is this and B is this. Although I think it's always good to do that. But if you wrote this, you would still get your marks. Just keep your marker happy, I think, and maybe always just write, A is equal to 4, B is equal to 3. Okay. Um, but yeah, the height is the number at the front. So maybe think about that. If you do 2 times your height, okay, you're gonna it's the number in front of your height. All right, and this number here affects the period. Okay, so yeah, and if you're really rubbish at it, if you're like, I don't get sine, I hate sine, cos, tan, I hate maths. Well, have a guess. Still you can still get half marks for this question just by guessing 4 for both of them. Okay, just by knowing that this is usually 1, now it's 4. So something's been times by 4. You don't know if it's that or that, so just say A is 4, B is 4. There you go, you've got 50% of your trig question. Okay, so yeah, I'd rather people knew the answers, but I think it's worth sometimes thinking about good ways to guess because you're always going to come up against a question where you're not sure, and it's good to know how to guess effectively. Okay. This looks like a hard question. Okay, I see a lot of letters, I see a graph. But look, 1, 1, 1. So it can't be that tricky right away, okay? And again, this is part of the game. Everyone works hard away at maths, but just think about exam papers and what they mean, okay? So I'd be thinking this can't be too difficult, okay? So the graph below, and it shows a parabola in this form. Okay. So you should recognize that as a factorized equation, and that's your complete the square, isn't it? So that should, you should be thinking, okay, complete the square, because I've got something squared plus a number, okay, complete square. And they tell you the minimum turning point. Okay. So what are the values of A and B? Now again, it's for 1 mark, right? Something's going to be 2, and something, but you would think something's going to be 2, and you think something's going to be -4. Okay, so that's a good guess right there, right? Much time have I got? Not loads. Okay, so what I always think about is y is equal to x squared. So that's y is equal to x squared. Okay. Now you could think on that as y is equal to x plus 0 squared plus 0. Okay, that's the kind of that's the starting point, isn't it? So if that was a was 0 and b was 0, this would be my equation. Okay, so what's happened is it's been moved down. Okay, and then it's been moved along because this point here is now over here, isn't it? And then this is the new graph. Okay, so it's been moved down by -4 by the looks of it. Yeah, and then it's been moved over to the right by 2. So the -4 to me is the easiest number to think. Okay, so plus b, that's going to be, that's going to be -4 because the whole graph has gone down by -4. It should be, this is y is equal to x squared. So then y is equal to x squared -4 would be in, that would be in there. That's y is equal to x squared -4. But that's been moved over. Okay. So this is the bit that's, you've got to change the sign. This is actually -2. Okay. Inside that bracket, we change the sign. Now, if you forget that, a good guess would have been 2. Just write 2 minus 4 would have been a great guess. Okay. Think about working back. Okay. If we have this as -2, so say we have x is about, so let's think of, so I did y is equal to x squared. Let's do this graph over here. So let's see if I just move it over first before I move it down. Let's see I move it over. Stick pen. So if I move this one over, right, that is equal to y is equal to x -2 squared. Okay, now that makes sense because the turning point, so see at this point here, y is equal to 0. Yeah, so 0 equals x -2 squared, because at x is equal to 2, 2 minus 2 gives you 0. Okay, so if you move it over this way, it's a change of sign, but that's why it's a change of sign. Think about your x squared graph. You move it over. I want y to be equal to 0. At this point, that's where y is equal to 0, and x is equal to 2, isn't it? Okay, so if x is 2, 2 minus 2 squared is going to give me 0, not plus 2. 2 plus 2 give me 4, 4 squared give me 16. Okay, so it's -2. So the easiest number here is definitely the -4, because I think it's simple to think of shifting a graph up and down, right? But the sign changes for the x part, and that's why. So again, please try and think of this. Use this as like your code breaker, your Rosetta Stone. Please feel free to Google that story, or Rosetta Stone is. But that's what's going on. We're manipulating this original y is equal to x squared graph. And if you think of this one here, I've moved it over 2, so I need to say that x -2 squared gives me y, because when y is 0 here, yeah, x is going to be 2. 2 minus 2 is going to give me 0. All right. And the axis of symmetry is dead straightforward. So where is it symmetrical? Well, symmetrical up this line here, isn't it? So what is that? Well, that's just x equals -4. Okay, that's the axis of symmetry. Sorry, yeah, not x is -4. Oh, sorry. I'm rushing because I can see my time is running out. Right. X is equal to 2. What am I saying? X is equal to 2. Okay, that's the axis of symmetry. Make sure you write x is equal to 2. Just writing 2 is not enough. It has to be x is equal to 2. Okay. And that's the end of that. One thing I'll just say there is just that's because vertical lines are x equals this. Say just this horizontal line here, that'd be a y equals line. Okay, just y is always equal to a single number. The vertical line x is always equal to a single number, and anything in between, yeah, like a straight line, is your y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, thanks.